It's time for Rella's Nation. What's up, team? It's your girl Rella J, and I'm coming to you live and direct here on the YouTube. So today we have a very special guest. Very special guests. Both of these people I've known for a very long time, particularly the female who is like my sister girl, okay? I invited her and her husband to sort of share with all of you all what it is to be married. And I've asked them some questions, not very intrusive, but just some questions to sort of get people to understand the dynamics of marriage. And so what you're about to see is an interview with my girl Alicia and her husband Bruce. So I hope you enjoy. Thanks for tuning in.
My wife Alicia, we've been married for this year will be 15 years. I will say that 15 years and we're still going strong, still in love. Not always feel like it, but we are still in love. I thank God for her and for blessing me with her. She did.
So this is Bruce Morgan, my other half, and sometimes my better half, my calmer half. And I think he's how long we've been married, but he's a great father and a great friend. I would say he's my best friend. And always there, always my cheerleader. And I'm happy to be married to him too, for sure.
How did you meet?
How did we meet? We met through a mutual friend. Kind of interesting how we met, actually. We've gone to the same church, I think maybe for 2 years or so, and never crossed paths. And at some point, or somewhere around 2001, I think it was. Mm-hmm. A mutual friend saw me in church and said, or she approached me saying, well, I would like you to meet somebody that I think you guys would make a good couple. Initially, alarms started going. I was curious, and I realized at some point that the person was friends with my wife now, and so it I started making some connections before I met her. And when I saw her, I thought, okay, I could definitely see us together. And I had a good impression. We met, and initially we just started talking, had good conversations, just talk for long hours, a couple hours here and there, and we hit off on a good note, and it really, I guess, to answer the question in a short way, that's all.
So I will interject a little bit and kind of fill out his story a little bit. So I had seen a guy in church. I had just come back from college, and I'd seen a guy walk up to, during offering, and he looked really great in his suit. So I was like, oh, he looks kind of cute. And then, but then a girl that was next to him as he's walking along, and because he's a gentleman, so that's what he was being, gentleman. He wasn't his girlfriend, but I thought they were together. I was like, oh great, of course the one person I like has somebody. So I just completely switched off and moved on. My brain moved on. And then this mutual friend says, you know what, there's this guy in church the other day who was talking, and it just seemed like you guys would be so good together. I'd never told anyone that I spotted him and liked him or anything. And then when we met, I was like, ooh, it's the same guy. And so And as a matter of fact, he told me the same thing. He saw me walk by in church one day and was like, oh, she's kind of cute. And turns out I had never spoken to him. And yes, we actually been to the same church like all our lives, really, and never crossed paths. So it wasn't 2 years, probably more like, I don't know, 10, 17 years, I don't know.
But I gotta say that maybe if she had seen me before, because I do look kind of goofy before, I guess. She probably wouldn't.
That's too much.
How did you know? How and when did you know he or she was the one? How did you know Alicia was the one? How did you know Bruce was the one? Is it like fairy tale?
Well, you know what?
Like butterflies, halo, a bright shining light?
It's strange because, you know, in a way we kind of each spotted each other beforehand, before either of us knew that we had an inkling or attraction for each other. And so when we met, it's like we went past getting to know you. As a matter of fact, I remember her first conversation, or our first kind of like getting to going out, whatever, or hanging out. We went down by this path downtown or whatever, and I think what we said to each other is like, we're not trying to date forever. You know, we decided from day one, hello, we're getting married. I'm not here to play games. I'm here to, you know, to find the one to get married, and we were both on the same page. So I believe from the beginning it was a path to seeing whether we meshed together, whether we connected in a way that we would be forever.
Do you think it's because of your age? If you were in your 20s, would it have been the same?
I think it's a combination of my age and the fact that I was a Christian and I wasn't dating for, you know, I mean, dating for me is different, I think, than it is for someone who wants to try out somebody, you know what I mean? For me, dating was about being purposeful, about who I wanted to be with and who I wanted to spend the rest of my life with. And so if that wasn't the case, then let's move on, kind of a thing, you know? Yeah.
Yeah. I would say some of that was true in terms of kind of having some preset notion about you know, I think I had a good sense of who my wife was and what I was looking for, the criteria that I was looking for in a wife, and I saw those qualities, and so it's just a matter of, obviously you see a person, but once you get married, you know, you got to get to know them. So the preconditions or the prerequisites were there. Now I was willing to say, well, I have what I need to go on in terms of making a decision to marry her. So for me, that's kind of how we, you know, I guess men kind of process things maybe a little different.
So with saying all of that, what's the best part about being married?
Well, there's a lot of great parts about being married. The obvious, which need not be mentioned. But one of the greatest things about being married to Bruce for me is that I have a cheerleader. I mean, I have someone who is on my side, who's supporting me. If it's the only person in the world, many times, you know, he's a great listener, and I can talk to him. And sometimes I'll say to him, you know, this is an adult conversation, right? Talking to him is like making love, because we just can vibe, you know, and I just find that to be one of the beautiful things about our relationship. So, yeah.
So what's love?
Love.
Oh, was I supposed to answer that question too or not? But
you can answer however you want.
Yeah. What's love? everybody, I think, defines love a little differently. For me, it's the language that you speak and somebody can understand, and really on a level can connect with you. And so I think anytime you're with somebody who understands you on a different level, and sort of connects and meet those needs sometimes that other people will not meet or even care to meet. But in a marriage relationship, love is the beauty of being able to enjoy and share each other, and really mutually give each other respect and share and care and all of that. I think in a marriage, love continues to evolve. You don't really stay one place. And so, it's the beauty of even being together for 15 years, because you continue to grow, you continue to see things in each other that you can continue to connect with and evolve and grow together. That's why I kind of, and I don't want to be too long-winded with this, but, for people who don't give their relationship a chance, they don't get to experience the love that they could. So, I hope our love continue to grow in a way where I can really even shine and experience even greater love than we do.
One of the things the practicality of love, and I think Bruce said it in his answer, is the stick-it-to-it-ness of being married. It's like the willingness to stay the course, the ebbs and flow, and to love through the ebbs and flow, and I still come out on the other side feeling love and feeling like I want to still spend the rest of my life with this person. I don't want to enjoy the good things or the good parts of life without this person. They won't matter if that person's not there.
So that was all the nice, buttery, beautiful diamonds and all that mushy stuff. Now let's get down to get down. So, what trait does your spouse possess that drives you nuts? And how do you handle conflict?
Traits that drive me nuts. Oh boy.
Only one.
Here, he's giving me, limitations here.
Only one.
I don't know. I guess I'll say one thing that kind of annoys me, because that's one thing I can think of right now. But my wife will leave something in the sink, and it really drives me nuts. It really does. Just take the thing out the sink. All right. So it's one of those things. And in terms of handling conflict, sometimes it's a matter of talking about it right then. Sometimes it's kind of wait till the time is right to talk about it. And over time, you figure different ways to handle conflicts. The nice thing is you get to know the person well enough to know when it's okay, I can address this issue right now, or I need to wait and address it at a different time. But we try to resolve, and that's one thing about my wife and I. We tend to always talk about whatever our issues are, whatever the conflict is. It might not be right then, but eventually we'll get to talk about it.
Well, sometimes it's talk, sometimes it's shout. But keeping it real, I think that's one area we're still growing in, and have a lot of growth to do in that area.
you have a lot of growth?
I think we both do.
Oh,
I
didn't
mean,
hear you.
I think I do personally, more so than Bruce, to be honest, because Bruce is a lot quieter, a lot more contemplative, where I am just like, okay, right now, kind of deal with it. So sometimes we like you said, we talk about it and we find sometimes it may not be like that. Sometimes we do the thing that a lot of married couples do, where I am going to be downstairs today until I feel better, kind of a thing. But overall, at the end of the day, now I feel like we don't stay mad at each other as long as we did when we were younger, when we just got married. I remember when we got married, I'd be on one end of the bed about to fall off and hoping he'd stay on the other end. But Bruce, being the one who handles conflict better, he actually would be like right here. I'm trying to fall off the bed. Is this what we're supposed to do? You're supposed to be on the other side, but he'd be right there. And he literally would not go to sleep until, so being the kind of person that he is, of course it's going to help me kind of figure my path out of how to handle conflict healthier. But I'd say it's a work in progress, but, we talk it out just like everybody does and deal with it. And one of the things that we decided a long time ago is that we're in this for life, so we're going to figure out, we're going to deal with it,
So, with saying all of that, how has marriage changed both of you, if at all?
How has marriage changed you? Honestly, I don't know if marriage changed me per se. I think I've been the same kind of person. I've matured, so with that, I think I've grown. I mean, when we got married, I was 27, 28. Well, somewhere around there. But the thing was, at the time, I think I wasn't mature. I think I was somewhat wet behind the ears, and you sort of evolve into a person who can think maturely, who sort of understand who they are. So marriage don't necessarily change you, but you mature over time and you grow with life experiences. But now, as a married person, you also have different responsibilities. You start your level of awareness and everything else evolve. So with that, you're somewhat changed, but your core of who you are, I think, stays the same. So yeah, I think I have evolved as a man, and my wife and I think my wife pushed me to a certain extent too, to sort of step into that role as being husband of the home and everything else. That's too is a growing process. So you do sort of change. I guess you do change in certain areas. So I think that's kind of a loaded question to answer, because I think there's a lot of different pieces to it. But that's kind of how I would answer it.
He helps me answer my question. But yeah, I think it's about maturing. But I think because of the kind of person Bruce is, it's helped me to be a little bit more contemplative in a sense, because there were things about myself that I didn't understand, very immature ways that I didn't understand about myself, how I handle situation, and not just in a marriage, but just with people in general. Willingness to deal with conflicts with people outside, just to know that it's not something that I take on myself, but to realize that maybe the situations that are going on around has nothing to do with me. So it's helped me to grow in my ability to relate to people, and that's just because of he thinks about everything from just thinks long and hard about everything and just sees every side of everything. And so he's helped me to kind of monitor some of my reactions to things, and kind of given me a backbone to stand in certain areas where I felt like insecure. Just knowing that he's saying, he's watching, or he's cheering me on, or he's gonna be there and he's gonna give me good feedback. Gives me kind of wings to be myself. You know what I mean? So I think I've grown in that area as it relates to
So marriage, would you recommend it?
Of course.
Why?
Would you recommend it, honey?
Of course, I would recommend marriage. I mean, men in general, I think, are better. I think married than single. In my experience.
That's another day. That's a whole nother conversation from a single woman's perspective. Oh, praise God. I don't know. But anyway, keep going. I'm sorry.
No, but I do think married men, and there's research and statistics or whatever to back that up. But I think, personally, I wouldn't want to be a single man being alone. But also, being married really brings a lot of stability. It brings a level of responsibility. And when your marriage is great, it's great. I mean, the downside is obviously painful, but if you're in a loving marriage, where you share and care for each other, boy, you're like in heaven being married. So it's really making sure that you're in a right relationship, a healthy relationship. But yeah, I would certainly recommend marriage to any man that's single out there.
Yeah, I agree. I'm a woman, but I agree because, I am not the single type either. I prefer, a growing relationship. But I think more so now, probably that's one way I have evolved, and I think a lot of people have done this, where you think about, how would I be if I was alone? Like, you want somebody to share your life with, you know what I mean? And I'm just happiest when I have someone to share my life with, you know what I mean? And so I enjoy that aspect of marriage, that, you can trust this person, you know what I mean? I really absolutely have no, I don't know if everybody can say this in their marriage, but I love the fact that I can trust my husband, you know what I mean? And I know that he has my best interest at heart. That's some of the things that being in a marriage provides, that I can just rely on that person. Now, obviously, that is in perspective where God is concerned, or, and you leave room for the person to have flaws. But I love that I'm in a committed relationship, and this is a person that I have my children with. This is a person that loves and cherishes me, and I love and cherish him. And, and neither of us are going anywhere, and we're supportive of each other. I mean, I don't know what's to be bad about that. Like he says, though, there are downsides in any relationship. Even if you're not in a marriage relationship, there are bad points. So you can't say, okay, well, married people have issues. Well, single people just having a relationship have issues. So what's your point? So yeah, love it.
So what's the one thing you didn't know about marriage, which is the last question? What's the one thing you didn't know about marriage that you wish somebody told you?
Okay. Was that what a side thing? Was that a signal? Okay, go ahead, man.
I know, right?
Yeah, that was good. I like that.
Yeah, I believe the one thing I wish somebody had told me or helped me with is really understanding. I understand the thing about submitting in a marriage, submitting to your partner. Your husband is the head and all of that, and I understand. We understand what I'm talking chomp chomp chomp. Yeah. So your husband is the head, and how to reconcile that aspect of submission in knowing what God has for you to do. Like, you know, each person has a purpose, a calling, and understanding how do you, if you are not on the same level where, okay, I can step in here and do this, how do you reconcile being a submitted female in the relationship and still honor your husband? So, you know, that is one of the things that I wish someone would have told me. How do you handle that? It's easier also to hear how to handle that than do that. So I think that's probably one of the biggest things that would have helped me in my relationship, is how to handle that submission and honoring part and not feel like I am not being true to my purpose. You know what I mean? Not being true to living my purpose.
Yeah. And I totally can understand what my wife is saying there. For me personally, I would say the thing that I wish I had known, and you know, marriage is a complex thing, and I think one of the things I've thought about over time being married is, you know, you wish you had some kind of marriage manual that really teaches you some of those expectations, some of those things that comes up in marriage. But a lot of it you sort of learn as you go along, you know. Yeah. But really, one of the things I wish I probably had before I got married was really career, have a foundation there. When you're married and you're trying to navigate career and then raising a family and everything else, that can get kind of tricky and stressful. So if you're established and you know what you want, and you and another thing is you know, that I would give people as advice is be comfortable with you, so that you can allow your partner to be who they are as well. So, you know, just little things like those. Be grounded as in who you are. Have your own foundation, and allow your partner to be themselves as well.
All right. Well, I just want to thank you guys for participating in my Love Fest. This is your girl.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you.